Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. I'm joined by the two Stuarts today, Papa Stu.
How you doing?
And Stuart.
How you doing, Gav?
I'm good. How you guys getting on?
I'm fine.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yeah, doing away, just pretending to work hard, but we're recording a football podcast during the day, so yeah. I'm clearly not doing that great a job of it.
Just hope your boss doesn't listen. And Papa Stu, your own boss, so you'll be fine.
I'm here. Sun's out, doing my reports and everything, so yeah, and taking a good hour out talking to you lads.
Superb. Nice. Is it cold up there
today? No, yes. Well, it's cold, but the sun's out. Sun's there, look. Sun's shining through the blinds. Good.
Snow yesterday morning. I had to scrape my car. I had to scrape my car this morning as well, but I had to get snow off my car yesterday morning. It was quite a bit.
I wouldn't know, Gav. I didn't get in the car until about 12 o'clock.
But the other half
starts always up early. Aye. But yeah, obviously we're going to have a chat about St Mirren and Rangers game today, and obviously look ahead to the Scottish Cup very briefly. I mean, the St Mirren and Rangers obviously were early in the week, so we'll all kind of get through the two of them and then have a bit of a more discussion off the back of that in regards to the team and how they're playing. But I mean, let's just sort of jump into the St Mirren game quickly. I've got sort of some talking points off the back of that. I mean, there was a chance earlier on early in the game for Hibs. I mean, Nisbet, Doidge and Muller linked up well and it was sort of blocked, but I thought Muller, you know, getting in that dangerous area. It was good to see the three linking up. I think they linked up quite similarly against Hearts as well. But I mean, the majority of the chances in the game came from crosses, crosses from Cadden, crosses from Doig and Mitchell on the other side. But I mean, not a lot of them connecting. And I've seen a bit of debate, and I've had a bit of debate in the last week in regards to this. You know, is it the standard of the crossing, or is it the position of the forwards, or is it a bit of both? Stuart, starting with yourself, where do you sit on this?
For me, Cadden's probably been the biggest marked improvement of the Sean Maloney era coming in there. For me, he's either been man of the match or there or thereabouts every game under Maloney. So a lot of it for me lands into where are the strikers. Papa Stu, you were a forward, get into the danger areas and get your man hitting the target to you there. That has to be what's being done. We've seen far too many times a great ball coming over and it's in the 6 yard box area and there's nobody there for him. That's a really frustrating thing as a football fan.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Cadden has been the best player by far, I think, since Maloney came in. He's changed so much. He's getting the crosses in. I've always said, and I've said it on the podcast a few times, a good winger, left wing back, right wing back, if they get to the byline or near the byline and they can actually bend it round the player. Doig can do it sometimes, but Cadden can do that all the time. He doesn't have to get space to cross over. He bends it round, and you see that down in England, and the big teams. Their wingers can do that, and I don't know how the hell they do it. It's just they've got that whip on the ball. Cadden's been putting great balls over, and I know that Gav's not the lover of him, but I still think if you had a Jota in there, and you've seen the 2 goals that he got yesterday for Liverpool, they were talking about it after it, Rio Ferdinand and Michael Owen. They were saying that he's a fox in the box and he knows where to go. And that's where a good centre forward just lands, or the ball lands at his feet, because he anticipates. And in my opinion, at the moment, we don't have any centre forwards like that. Nisbet's not like that, and Doidge isn't like that. We've not got anybody that's coming for the second ball.
It doesn't even need to be Jota, though. Think even further back, different level of opponent. Jason Cummins.
Yeah.
His spatial awareness in the box, and how many goals did he score from less than 8 yards? He just knew where to be.
Yeah.
Someone like that. And I think that's probably why we've had so many people harken up to, right, can you get Cummins back? Can you get Lee Griffiths back? Because the build-up play is there. but the end product is well and truly missing.
See anybody?
I mean, I would disagree in regards to the build-up play. I think some of the build-up plays there, and I know what you're saying straight about or perhaps not a big fan of Cadden. I am a big fan of Cadden. I think he's direct. I think he can beat a man. Like you say, he can get to the byline, which is encouraging, and he has got a good cross on him. My problem is the amount of times that he's got into space and just crosses. Doesn't he look? He's never looking in the box. And there was a few times where, and like I say, they're probably the fact that we're playing two up front, one should be getting inside the 6-yard box, one should be peeling back or whatever. But like, you know, we're mentioning Premier League strikers. I know Cavani's really good at the last minute, taking a step back, getting himself a bit more space to then get a shot away. And the wing backs will see that he's pulled back and play it to him. The amount of times that Nisbet, so there's just a disconnect between the two of them. Nisbet is pulling back, getting a bit more space, so he's not challenging a defender in the air. He's got a bit of space to hit at his feet and or header on goal, and Can's just whipping it in and not looking. And it's just that bit disconnect. If like they would communicate a bit better, I think that's one way we do attack. I think we should be attacking to the middle a bit more as well, but that's another thing. I think that's one thing that could connect up and kind of improve us a lot.
I'm sure it was Cadden, 100% sure it was, against Hearts. We just about won the game at the end, the last couple of minutes, when he put that ball, and it was like, it looked as if he had kicked it right at the park. And it went right to the back, past the back post. And Henderson nodded it back, and Campbell he did everything right. You know, it's one of these things that just didn't go in.
Saved off the line.
Yeah. So, you know, he puts in balls that are like, you know, he took out one of the best keepers, you know, right over there, whipped it in. I still think that we don't have anyone there to take the chances. And I think Cadden is the biggest change in a player since Maloney came in.
Well, mentioning players in the box, one of them is Doidge, and he has been back since late December. He came back from injury, and so that's almost 2 months, 6 weeks or something. He's been back 7 weeks. It's a striker who in his first season, a COVID hit season, which was ended early, scored 18 goals for Hibs in his debut season. He's not looking like that player at the moment, though. Papa Stu, your thoughts on?
Well, we've spoke about it on the Hibs chat, the Hibs Talk chat, where Doidge, he seems to be a couple of yards off the pace. If it is, he might have that long-term COVID that, you know, he's toiling. We don't know. You know, it's for Hibs to come out and tell us that that's you know, what he's got, and they're trying to get him back to fitness. But he doesn't look the guy that he actually looks like the player that first arrived. You know, when he first.
Would you say it's more fitness or form?
I think it's more form. I would definitely agree with Stu saying he's at that yard off the pace, but he's one of these players that definitely benefits from more game time. Now, how do you get somebody more game time when they're not performing versus the alternative of it? Understand that. There's definitely a striker in there, but he works from minutes on the pitch and getting a bit of confidence in them, like a lot of strikers. And I feel we should persevere with him. There's definitely still a player in there. I'm a big fan of Doidge, but playing the one up top isn't benefiting Nisbet for me. So I think the two of them should be getting a bit of a longer run at it up top.
And in terms of sort of a more positive thing, one of the bright sparks for me, anyway, you can feel free to disagree, was Henderson against St Mirren. I thought he came on second half and got a few chances. Fair play to Nisbet, you know, we need Nisbet to be scoring the goals, but Nisbet was creating chances, I think 2 in particular for Henderson, one which he should have scored but hit straight at the keeper. But in terms of a midfielder getting into the box and creating chances, you know, it was great to see a midfielder do that. Papa Stu, I mean, what's your sort of early thoughts been on Henderson and against St Mirren?
Well, Henderson's sometimes he looks a bit lightweight. I think he's got to find his feet as well. But is he going to get us goals? I don't think so. You know, it's hard to say anything about the players because we're not scoring any goals. You know, we're slating. We're not slating. We're talking about Doidge and Nisbet, what they're not doing right. but nothing is happening in that 18-yard box or even outside it. We're having a couple of shots. We're not. So how do you give someone, talk about Henderson, blah blah blah, or anyone? How do you talk about them and say they're not bad? They're I just don't see anything in the team that is actually good at the moment. I don't know. We seem to be pussyfooting from halfway line to the 18-yard box, and we get nowhere. And then we come back.
Yeah.
It's difficult to say anything good about a player at the moment because there's nothing. And what I'm feeling, I'm worried about is, and you see on Facebook, Twitter, all the fans, so-called fans that are giving up now on Maloney. I think we've got to give him time, but we've brought in a lot of young boys. We've got to look for next season and onwards. It's written off.
And sorry, shoot, you were saying about Henderson there?
No, I think Stu's absolutely right. We're not creating anything from the middle. We've not done that since Magennis got injured. I do feel Henderson's going to be a great bit of business. We have to remember he wasn't getting a lot of game time at Celtic, so the guy's getting up to match fitness. There's a reason why a couple of Celtic fans I know messaged me say, "Can't believe you got him." Every time they saw him, they were really positive. European experience, goals from him. He will come good, but despite the great business we did in the transfer window, we're still kind of getting to midnight on that Monday going, right, where was our additional striker? Where was our midfield's general to help put a bit of steel, help push us forward? We did kind of miss. I know we touched on it personally. I'm not one of the, the Maloney experiment was fun, but now it's over. We do have to give him time. I'm almost willing to write this season off. And as long as we're hitting the ground running next season, I'm going to be okay with that. But I need to see something.
Finish up with the St Mirren game. Let's say GDH at fault for the goal. I mean, he's a player that's kind of struggling at the moment. Sort of, I think where he's just sort of taking a lot of time on the ball, passing it sideways, passing it back, and it's kind of playing into that frustration. We'll come to talking about the team in the transfer window in a sec. Just quickly on Rangers, obviously another defeat. The lineup was a bit puzzling to begin with, Stuart.
just a bit. I'll be honest, I could have missed a lot of the build-up to it due to another podcast that I'm on. Is it Fast, 7 p.m. every Wednesday? Thanks very much. Available on StreamYard and Podbean. But yeah, I'm kind of waking up to it again, getting back into the world to see, it looked like we were playing a flat back 7-2-1. The graphic that you put out, Gav, was comical but strangely accurate. Weren't quite sure what to expect, and then I was kind of going into that game fearing the worst anyway.
I've got a question here from at Green Army 1875. We'd like to get Gavin, this two Stu's opinion on Maloney's selection process for the St Mirren and Rangers game, and do they believe that Maloney has what it takes to turn things around? We'll come back to Maloney in a second, but just perhaps your thoughts on the lineup. It's a strange one. Like, say, what was it? 3 left backs and 2 right backs.
Well, we were
a couple of centre backs in there as well.
We were all trying to guess. We were all trying to second guess what the team was going to be, the formation. I don't know if anybody got it right, to be honest.
No, I think it ended up being Louis and JDH in midfield with Henderson behind the strikers, like a 4-2-3-1.
You know what, Gav?
Haddon and Mitchell as the wingers.
I actually think that Louis played well there. And no one else would have, because he puts in a lot of good tackles, and I think he did well. Maloney's probably got someone with a wee bit of steel, what Stu says just earlier. We haven't got anybody that's putting the tackles in the midfield. JDH, he does it, but he gets booked a lot because he gets a wee bit excited. But with Louis in there, I thought he played well. And that's saying something, that we've got our left back there when he played a way back in the cup final. When he was he was a young lad. Yeah. So it does say something that we're having to put somebody in there because we haven't got anybody. That is weird. Yeah. And as you said, if we had all these left backs and centre backs playing, that just showed that we were going to Ibrox to come away with a draw. We weren't going to get anything.
It was kind of reminding me of the kind of the mid-90s when I was still a young man. My dad was kind of saying to me, right, we're going to Ibrox today. Just kind of let's hope we didn't get too battered. And it kind of harked back to that. Maybe our purple period of going to Old Firm games and getting something is maybe kind of been and gone. I'm not just saying this for Hibs, I'm saying this for all Scottish football. There was a fantastic article on Football Scotland on Facebook, and it just showed the strength of the benches of the last couple of games and games involving the Old Firm. These are guys that would just walk into any other 10 teams, no question about it. And it's an annoying thing for me, and I say it every time. You sit there at the end of a game against Rangers Celtic, you sit there and go, all right, well, he's on 30 grand a week, he's on 25 grand a week. Well, look at Aaron Ramsey, what's he supposed to be on at Juventus, what percentage Rangers are paying up for debate. We couldn't even dream about that. But do we then have a splinter league where, okay, we're only really allowed to compete against Aberdeen and Hearts because they've roughly got our budget?
A wee question.
I remember Dave saying this a while back in terms of like when Rangers had beaten us and stuff. I remember doing a post podcast and Dave made the point that the days of getting close to Celtic and Rangers are gone. Obviously, and Celtic were in the sort of midst of their 10 in a row when he said it and stuff. Like that's them. The two of them are gone now.
Yeah.
We might get the odd surprise result, but it's going to be a rarity. Those two are gone now. They're just a different stratosphere, and the strength of their bench kind of proves that.
Gav, with regards the team and the formation, a wee question to you guys: do you not think that Maloney went there hoping that we didn't get trounced like Hearts at the weekend? He didn't want to lose 4, 5, 6 because we could have, and that's why he's went there with that in mind. And I think he's been happy. Do you know? I think he's been happy coming away with a 2-0 beat. Getting beat. I think he's went there hoping that we're going to get beat.
Damage limitation.
Yeah, I really do, because how many times that we went to Ibrox and we've came away with a win and whatever because we've attacked, and that wasn't an attacking formation.
I think Nielsen can probably get away with a 5-0 defeat. Obviously, he's not great on his sort of record, but he's third in the league. He's beating everyone else. They're 10 points clear or something in third place. They've got that wrapped up. First season back, he's fine. Maloney is on a bad run, let's face it, and we'd probably get a bit more stick for that. So like I said, that was one of the talking points I had there. Only 2-0, not 5-0, I think. But second half was sort of a bit more impressive. Probably a bit more positive, a bit more keeping the ball, limited them a bit more, a couple of half chances, but but one play that did impress me, obviously, McGinn gave away the penalty. I think we can all agree it was a penalty, wasn't it?
Penalty to Rangers. Yeah. I missed the start of the game. I came downstairs to kind of see it on. Wife had already turned the telly over. I went, what? No, are you joking me? Barely downstairs. Like she went, it was a penalty, and I'm immediately on my high horse about that, 100%. Before kind of catching up with the guys in the chat who are all sensible guys, who are like, yeah, it was a penalty. So that was disappointing. I wanted to kind of moan about that a lot more. I wanted to say about the changes over the second half. I was saying, they're a lot more attacking. That's pretty good. It's like, yeah, because we didn't have any more defensive players left to put on. They were
McGinn did get injured in the first half and went off, and he was one of those changes that went off. Cadden went to right back, and Sylvester Jasper came on. I thought he was one of the positives in both games, but especially Ibrox. He's really brave. He runs at defenders. He can find a bit of space. Final ball's not been there, I'm hoping yet, but what did you guys? Were you guys impressed with him?
Yeah, I can ask. I always forget because we've bought that many players coming in and where they've all came from. That's the one from Fulham. He's from Fulham.
Loan till the end of the season, but we've got the option to buy him.
Yeah. We've got the option to buy at the end of the season. Is that the one on loan? Yeah. But the option to buy.
Him and Rocky are the same deals, yeah. Both right. Rocky and Jasper, we've got on loan till the end of the season with the option to buy if he's already agreed, if we choose to buy them.
I wonder what the amount will be, because I think, sticking my neck out, I think that Jasper, I think he'd be the next Boyle, because that guy, I've listened to him.
No pressure, son, eh?
Aye, well, if you think when Boyle came to Easter Road, he wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And that laddie is busy come in. He says he's trying to play like your Messi, Ronaldo, and whatever. Honestly, I think the guy is brilliant, and I think we found a gem. And that was one of the guys that were like, "Who's that we've got right before 12 o'clock?" Yeah. In the transfer window. So I think that we've got a wee gem there, and he likes to have a couple of wee step overs. It was him that had the shot at McGregor parry down the bar.
Good save.
Good save. Yeah. So he's not scared. And I think that we've got a gem in that guy. And once he's up to speed, I think Cadden will play right back. And the two of them will play. They two will be maybe because the other guy drops back as well. So I think that they two will just go up and down the right. Well, and then we've got Clarke coming back. Yeah. So
play right centre back.
I did want to bring this up as well. If we look at who we've got out right now, and every team does it, I think Hibs fans are probably among the worst for it. We're currently missing Magennis. We're currently missing Hanlon. We're missing Newell, and we're missing Clarke. To me, these are four guys that are starters if everything's all well and fit. Reverting back to Jasper, though, I've got a buddy of mine down here who's a big Colchester fan. That's where he came via, so I was quickly onto the message and Tim say, all right, what can you tell me about this guy? Bit of a raw talent, but as we've seen so far, he said strong, quick, direct, got a bit of trickery about him. They wanted to see more of him, but obviously he's kind of come up the road to us. And I agree with you, Stu. I think we've got a bit of a gem.
Good.
And the final talking point of the Rangers game was obviously going back to sort of team selection, but Macy came back in. Apparently the reason that Big Kev kept his shirt for the game against St Mirren was because Macy wasn't 100%, not because of his performance against the Hearts. And Macy came in. He's our number one. I mean, it seems a bit harsh on Kevin Dabrowski, doesn't it, Stuart?
Extremely. Man of the match against the Hearts. Pulled off, even Hibs put out a short kind of video of his kind of 4 or 5 great saves. Nothing he could do about the goal against St Mirren. He was totally left all at sea by Jake Doyle-Hayes. Let's not labour on that point. And then he loses that. Somebody on the group chat, I do want to, I want to say, was it Liam, potentially, said, have we just decided not to throw Kev to the Wolves at Ibrox, keep his confidence up and then bring him back in once we've kind of got that, things were settled? That isn't the stupidest theory out there. Let's be fair.
According to Maloney, the reason, like say, that they said that he was doing a fitness update, injury update, and he was like, Macy should be back for the wasn't fit enough to start the game against St Mirren. I'm paraphrasing, but he wasn't fit enough to start the game. That's why he was on the bench. So if he was fit, he would have started against St Mirren. Dabrowski would have been dropped, which seems crazy.
It does seem crazy. Kev's no let us down in the couple of, or very few chances and games he's been given. I really feel for him.
Well, you know what? Can I say something about Macy? He should be dropped after that performance against Rangers. That honestly, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Now Morelos hit it hard, but he never hit it that hard that I thought he jumped out the road. I really that annoyed me.
It was a bit David Copperfield, wasn't it? He moved and it just kind of went through him.
Honestly, I didn't know what the hell he was doing. And the penalty, he's 6'7". Now, how many? I'd like to see the percentage of a lot of players when they put it down the middle.
Careful, let's not get into some heistist thing here, Stu.
Right.
Come on.
They put it down the middle, Stu, right? They put it down the middle. Now, he's 6'7". Should he not be diving but trailing his legs at a height so, he can take up the whole half of one goal? So, and if the ball, he might touch it, maybe no, but he should be, a goalkeeper, in my opinion, should be trailing his legs because there's so many people that do just put it in the middle now. So
I seem to remember Eve Makalambi saving one against Craig Brewster for Inverness, and he did exactly that. He dived, but Yves Makalambi, another huge keeper that we had,
basketball player,
was able to save it with a trailing legs.
I just think he dived at the rod and he makes it easy. However, getting back to Dabrowski, that laddie must feel really bad now. If that was, say if that was my boy, I'd be saying to him, get out of there, because he's not going to get a chance. You have a fantastic game against Hearts. You know, there was 2-3 saves that were potentially goals for Hearts. And then you drop him against Rangers. He's only going to get experience in big games if he plays in them.
We've been a bit almost unfair to him, chucking him into a nighttime derby game. The boys performed fantastically, and his confidence must be rock bottom right now. Do really feel sorry for Kev.
Yeah. Maybe hopefully, I don't know if he'll get the cup game. I hope he does. We'll obviously chat about that in a sec. But yeah, a disappointing result. Like I say, I think there was positives in the second half, which has been tough to see positives. But it's tough to be positive as a Hibs fan. I think, looking through social media, looking through the forums, understanding a lot of frustration just now. I mean, looking at the game since the turn of the year, we've scored 2 goals. One of them was a cross, which didn't mean. And that was they both came in the same game. And it's 2 points from 6 games. A draw against Motherwell and a draw against Hearts. Defeat to Celtic, defeat to St Mirren, defeat to Livingston, defeat to Rangers. Like, it's a lot of red and a lot of grey when I look at this form thing. I mean, Stuart, sorry. So, what is Molyneux trying to do? Did you watch a lot of Belgium? What's the end goal here? What's the football we're trying to achieve?
I think the benefit that Maloney had with Belgium was that he had a lot of very talented Belgians that he doesn't really have here. He's got one. I've been a fan of Rocky so far, but I kind of look back to what did we see for the first 20, 25 minutes against Aberdeen? What did we see against Dundee United as well? There was definitely something there. There was definitely a plan. Since then, it's fallen away. Us
Martin
Hibs
Boyle's
fans,
been away.
Yeah, Martin Boyle's been away. That's a massive part of it. And I feel the window will be looked back on in time as a positive one, and only time will tell for it. We do have to be lenient. I do want to kind of see these guys get bed in. I'm definitely not in the Maloney out camp. There seems to be a lot of disappointed, understandably, angry kind of supporters out there right now that we all want instant success. We've all got this, but I think this is something that's been ruined by English Premier League football and things like that. We do have to set realistic expectations for ourselves, but we can also have a right to expect more. There's
a great YouTube series, Tifo Football. They also got Tifo IRL. Jimmy Boyle is on it. He's really good. And then, like I say, they talk about, they've got the sort of in real life one, and they've also got the cartoon sort of videos which explain how teams play, what they try to do. It's really good. And I watched the one on Belgium they done from a few years ago, talking about how Belgium try to, do pass it, but it's quick passes, hard a lot of time on the ball, getting the ball forward, getting the ball wide, getting the ball, and then like stretching teams, getting the ball back in the middle, a lot of stuff like that. And from what I've seen from Hibs, especially since the turn of the year, there is this passing it about, but it's passing it about, taking a couple of seconds on the ball, looking about, passing it sideways, somebody gets the ball. It's not fast. They're taking a long time on the ball. And the reason that apparently one of the reasons that Jack Ross didn't get kept on was because, yes, the results have been bad, but also the style of football. And I've not been blown away by Maloney so far. I know it's early days, but it seems like I do believe that Jack Ross, I understand the football was born, but it seemed a bit of a rush decision to get rid of him, and a bit unfair considering what he achieved last season. I think long term we might. I'm like a bit more like yourself, Stuart, but I'm struggling to perhaps you. I mean, do you see something I'm not seeing in the performances?
No, I'm like every other Hibs fan. Stuart, you said about the Dundee United and Aberdeen game. You can write these games off because it's a new manager came in and everybody's trying like a bear because they're trying to impress. And if he's came in and he said, right, I'm wanting to play like this, they're all excited. But it's down to the players. We've not got the players that, I was just watching the 2 games in between last night, the Liverpool game and then the Arsenal-Wolves game. And around about the box, where where we get to, we're not quick enough with the one touch. We're taking 2 and 3, and we then go back the way because we're not getting that final, ball through. Where I always think that Scott Allen is the one that would be able to play that wee ball. But last night, watching it, but they're far better players. That's the thing, and they're playing. A ball comes to them, and they're playing that one touch. They're not even taking they're not taking a touch. Whereas we've not got these players, and that's Maloney's trying to get them like what he wants. And I think, honestly, I really do. I think I've changed my mind, but I think that it'll just click, and we'll actually get the players. It'll just happen.
Yeah.
And
this is why I like listening to Papa Stu. Honestly, I feel better about this already.
You know what? Can I say that? And this means nothing to Hibs or any other professional football club, right? But when I was coaching, and it was Cowdenbeath, and it was only under 15s, right? But these lads came from lesser teams, right? Because all the Hibs, Hearts, Celtic, Rangers got all the cream of the crop at that age, right? And I was taking a team when Mickey Wee and Keith Wright were taking Cowdenbeath. And I've told you a story before. So I'm having to go far. I've got to travel everywhere to get some laddies in, which they weren't that good. However, I remember doing a lot of coaching and just pass, getting them to do that, what Maloney's doing with a lesser player. And I know that, we used to get beat 7-0 for St Mirren, under 15s and Ayr, and used to get trounced all the time. But after a season, it just came good. And the laddies were like getting beat from these better teams 2-1, and they were annoyed. And I just seen the difference, and with them after a while. And I think that's what Maloney will see with our players. Once he gets his team in, and they just gel, and that we touch, they'll be taking one touch rather than 2 and 3. And I think that will come good. I really do. And we've got to give them time. We have to give them time.
It's something that I'm sure I made this point on the podcast a few weeks back, so I do apologise for making the same point, but I think it's become a bit more apparent. Like, why did we sack Hecky a few years ago? Because Hecky was trying to play this style of football, past a bit of defence, and he wanted to bring in players, and unfortunately, some of those players never worked. Josh Vela, for example, was a big part of what he wanted to do. The signing didn't work. And rather than going, right, okay, this signing hasn't worked, that's why this is what he wants to do isn't working, we'll have to be patient, give him back in the window. We sacked him. And now, I mean, like I say, he is 4 wins in a row in Sheffield United, heading towards the playoffs. Probably going to be a good chance he could be a Premier League manager again next year, which is crazy. But so, I mean, like, I just think, and in terms of Jack Ross, we didn't agree with what he's wanting to do. But if we'd given him time, backed him in the windows, we finished third in the season last season for 18 win games. and Hibs fans are already calling for Maloney out. It just seems like we need to be patient as Hibs fans. And like you say, Stuart, it takes time for those, for those signings to click in place, to get the players in you want to play a style, for players to understand it and stuff. And I'm all for being patient, but it's just like, I don't trust the board to be patient. I can see us getting
we've got an American owner now. We've got no right to be patient. Like, you follow a lot of the American sports, Gav.
August, September, things haven't clicked to a couple of new signings. We sack Maloney. There's more money wasted. Another manager comes in, his new style. It just seems never ending. Like, it's just because, like I say, we've had good coaches in. And
Gav, I don't
them.
think. Yeah, I don't think that they will sack him. Because you can see the way that they're working their philosophy. I think they're getting young players in, and there's that Emmanuel Johnson. He's the young boy, and he's up my screen there now from that Barcelona camp, and he's getting sent to America. This is where Hibs are changing. And we never had that for the owners and chairman from past. And I think that this is the way that they're going. And I think that the way that Maloney's philosophy of the way he thinks the football should be played, I think that's the way that they're looking at it. And I don't think they'll sack him. How many weeks has he been in?
I don't think
Eight, 9 weeks.
that's why.
Yeah,
That's why I said like
10
August,
under 10
September.
weeks.
I don't think it'll be anytime soon. You'll definitely see. But I mean, what a question here from Dave Williamson 6. Papa, so you can answer this. You do feel it's going to click. He said, do you guys see enough in in recent performances to suggest Maloney is the right man going forward? Stuart, what's your thoughts on that?
I think the key words there going forward. If we're going to start seeing that would be a great benefit. My dad, whenever he watches the games, is a great one for the stats. He does love observing the Opta stats and things like that. And for long enough, you can look at it and say, "Oh, but look at our possession. Look at them in a bit of passes. Pass accuracy is brilliant." When all we're doing is keeping it deep in our own third, that's worrying. This is what's going to turn fans away, and of course against Maloney and the club, and of course the players. I do think there's something there. I do agree with Papa Stu and yourself that there will be something that will click in there, but we need to start seeing something.
I think before it clicks, Maloney's got to find these starting 11s too. I think that's the problem just now. He doesn't know his starting 11. And
has he been hindered by injuries as well? Like say, Stuart mentioned it earlier on. Clarke seemed to be a big part. We wanted to play Hanlon, although he's not going to exactly create goals. Magennis, Newell. I mean, do we have to be more lenient, or even with those players injured, 2 points out of possible 18 still isn't good enough, is it?
No, it's not good enough. But I just think that he's changed. He's maybe changed. This is maybe where he's a bit naive, right? And I don't like using that word because because he knows a hang of a lot more than what all we know, or put together our fan base. So he is maybe being a bit naive with regards trying to change too much too quickly. He might have just been better just sort of folding it in and just a wee bit at a time. As I say, we're no managers. We're just we talk about it. We talk a good game, but Maloney will know himself. He'll be under pressure. He'll definitely be under pressure. We heard him say in an interview that Melkersen is sort of getting very slowly sort of eased in. We might not even see him this season, is what he said. Clarke out for until middle of March at least. Magennis, who knows when he'll be back. I mean, and like I say, we've got a question here from Keith Roberts saying should Hibs be worried about the recent results and other teams picking up? How damaging could bottom six finish be and potential relegation scrap for the club? I mean, two questions I can say. So I mean, do you see us finishing bottom six, Stuart, the way we're going?
Right now, yeah, absolutely. It is concerning that this is a position we're finding ourselves in. Dundee United, fair play to them, they're quietly going about their business and picking up, but Aberdeen, ourselves and Motherwell have got a horrific last 6 games record between us all. I think there's hardly kind of 2-3 wins in amongst it. Out of a possible 18 games, which is absolutely crazy. I'm not fearful for relegation. There are much weaker teams in the league than us. I could almost say, and I'll probably be shot, drum, horn and quartered for this one, but bottom six football could almost be good for us. Because we would then say, all right, we're not going to get relegated. We're not going to dragged into a playoff situation here. We can take the foot off the gas a little bit, try some new things, get guys in, get them trying different systems in actual real games, not just preseason friendlies or League Cup league system that we now have at the start of the seasons as well.
I was just looking at the league there, Stu, and if we could be enough points away from having problems for the bottom two, okay? But I don't think we should, because we're 10 points ahead of Dundee, right? Sitting in
we have a game in hand.
11th. Yeah, okay. Right.
And it just beat Hearts, so they've turned it around. They're coming fast.
Yeah, right, okay. Right, so let's argument's sake that we were in the bottom six. It just means that then we could play the type of football he's wanting to play and bring in the younger guys. and try them out. But
we
if
have
we're
to
in
be.
it,
Yeah, sorry.
if we're in the top 6, we're then playing against Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Dundee United, probably Motherwell. Okay. Now, if we're playing against these teams, we've only got Dundee United and Motherwell or oblique St Mirren. These 2 or 3 teams to play young guys, because he'll not get away with playing Celtic, Rangers and Hearts like that, because they'll take goals of us. So,
well, our first team can't beat St Mirren and Livingston, so maybe
I know. I know, Gav,
we have to be the most cautious club in Scotland when it comes to youth players. Dundee United had a 16-year-old for them starting the other night. And okay, I'm in two minds about this one. I don't want a young player being chucked out to the wolves and all of a sudden saying, them having a bad kind of 35 minutes, half hour, and the fans writing them off. But why not let the youth guys show us? You made a fantastic point a couple of podcasts ago, Gav, and it was about times where... No, this is one of the rare ones. No, this was about times where Hibs have been in economic crisis, where we've had to bring in youth players, guys coming through, and we look at the teams that have won us cups. Yeah, give them a bit of time, give them a bit of patience, but we should be able to see more of this, surely to God, especially with the obvious sort of signing policy and future youth recruitment that we are now looking to most certainly do.
The problem I've got, guys, sorry, Gav, the problem I've got is we're not getting to a stage of the game that we're winning.
Yeah.
I.e. 2-0 up or 3-0 up with 15 to go. And we can take off our centre forwards and put, say, you were just going to say there, O'Connor and Melkersen. Change it up. And because we're up three goals and we can afford to. We're under that much pressure just now because we're no scoring goals. Are you going to bring in 2 young boys and let them play up top? If they do score, they do, and they do come good, great. But if they don't, what is our fans like? We moan at our players.
I think we're more lenient with youngsters. I think we give them a chance, especially if the young Hibbies and stuff as well. Like, although in saying that, I do remember somebody moaning about Gary O'Connor, like a guy behind me for years moaning about Gary O'Connor, and because he went through a real dry spell. But anyway, like I understand what you're saying about Josh O'Connor. Laidlaw's obviously exciting, Melkersen, but they're not even on the bench. They're not even on the bench to then potentially come on. So I think Josh Doig is an aberration rather than the normality. Hopefully that changes, but I've seen no evidence from Hibs recently that we're giving youngsters a chance. Like you say, Stuart, we seem to be one of the only ones in the league that are no doing it, and it's worked in the past. But I mean, it's one of those ones. I think there's a lot of issues at Hibs. The transfer window left us short. We've all spoke about that quite a bit whenever we replaced Boyle. I think everyone's pointing about how we're weak in the middle. We've got no engine in the midfield. Street, you talk about engines all the time on Is It Fast, but we're not able to talking about one in our midfield. I made that joke when we were organising that podcast. Apologies, you guys heard it twice. I was proud of it. But I mean, is this season just written off then? And
Definitely. Definitely.
I'm almost certain it is. And I'm fine with that.
I'm not.
Stu, you and I were chatting before the derby, and you made a fantastic point to me, and I could have really just not given you any credit there.
Was that after 6 Guinness? Or?
I was around that, so I could have just maybe kept this point for myself and seemed brilliant. If we were to kind of explain to the fans, look, this is the plan, this is the goal, this is what we're aiming for, come and have some smaller Q&A type sessions with management, things like that. But I could have said, no, I definitely said it to you, mate. And look, put phones away. We're not wanting to see any of this stuff online. This is what we're looking to kind of do. I reckon, even if I came back to you guys one of the lucky ones to get selected or something like that, I'd like to be able to say a few things in confidence. Say, look, there's a plan here. There's a goal. This is something. This isn't something that we're just suck it and see. There's a long 5-term goal.
Us. Stick with us. Yeah. And this is, we're wanting to play the young boys, but we don't want to hurt them. We don't, like as in mentally, we don't want to do this. We do not. We're going through a transition, but this is for us having a closed doors sort of EGM and just please stick with us, and that's all. That's all we want to hear.
Yeah. It's like say you can make it exclusive to season ticket holders, so you didn't get Spygate, somebody from another club sneaking in, and like say just get projector or something. Like say get the. I remember we were talking about this before the derby, the three of us, and we were saying about like the dots and stuff like you. I'm not saying advanced technology like Gary Neville and stuff, but they talk about the dots and move them about and what they're trying to do. Do something like that to say to the fans, like this is what we're trying to do. So then when they're in the stands, we're like that's what they were talking about. That's what they're trying to do. They can relate to it a bit more, because I think fans are getting a bit impatient. We sacked a manager because the football's boring. The football's still boring. I'm going to say it is so boring just now. We're creating any chances. Yeah. We pass it about the defence. We eventually pass it out wide, drive to the byline, put in an aimless cross. Like say we talked about whether it's aimless crosses or there's no one there. I think it's more aimless crosses, but that seems to be the only game plan. Work it out wide, put in an aimless cross, see what happens, and it's just that's it. There's no. And we're so slow in the ball, and I think I understand that, like say we've spoke about those injuries, that it's going to be, we might be a bit better if those 4 players were available, but you get injuries, you have to be prepared for that. We've been left short, and I think Josh Campbell, Kevin Thompson was speaking in the Rangers game, in the Rangers TV, saying about how Josh Campbell, somebody tried to get a loan at Kelty Hearts. Yeah, no disrespect to Josh Campbell, but that's his level. I don't think he's good enough for Hibs, and Hibs have went, we don't need to sign anybody, we've got Josh Campbell. No, we have left ourselves majorly short in that position. I'm going on a ramble. I'm getting really frustrated because I'm so disillusioned with Hibs just now. I understand it's great to see that you guys have got the positivity, and I'm kind of contradicting myself because I do.
It's usually you have got the positivity, Gav.
I am just so frustrated with Hibs just now. And speaking of which, obviously we're going to briefly preview our Arbroath. I could see a wee cup upset. The way we're playing just now in Arbroath.
It's not going to be an upset, Gav.
We couldn't beat Cove Rangers in 90 minutes. Why we're going to be a championship side in 90 minutes?
Listen to me. You've never let me finish. It's not going to be an upset because I would say that at this moment in time, they're favourites. I'm telling you. I don't know. Have you ever been up at Arbroath? Right? I've been up there a few times.
Yeah,
right?
I've been up for pre-season friendlies.
Yeah, my brother and my ex-brother-in-law, he used to play up there, and I've been up there, and it's a tight pitch. The only thing's good about Arbroath is you get a Bridie, right? That's the only place is good about up there. It's brilliant, fantastic. However, they score goals now. They're really playing well, and we're going to be in on their backyard. So I tell you, they're favourites to me. And I was checking the bookies, and we're favourites, but I think there's something like about 13-5 or whatever. Arbroath. It's a great bet.
They are first in the championship table. They've won 12 games, only lost 3.
They're scoring goals.
Game. 1.58 goals per game compared to Hibs 1.0, and goals conceded 0.75 compared to Hibs 1.15, and had 11 clean sheets.
Yeah, 11 clean sheets.
Look how confidently we dispatched of Cove Rangers. I'm not worried.
No, I think that honestly, the cup upset, and maybe some Hibs fans will maybe go, shut up, but if we beat them, the way we're playing just now, where's the goals going to come from? Because
Jasper starting easy.
We've not scored. We've not scored. I don't know why we can't put Melkersen in. I do not know why we couldn't.
That's a weird one.
Him in. Put him in against Arbroath. No. If that lad he can't play against Arbroath, he shouldn't be at Hibs.
I don't know. They've obviously got some, higher plan of, let's ease them in and get them used to Scottish. I don't know. It's weird. Like at the same time, Muller's not getting used to Scottish football, and he's getting chucked in because he's 24, 25, but he's not the player we're expecting because he's struggling to settle in. But we're being patient and understanding that with Muller. Why can we not be patient and understanding with Melkersen? It's a strange one. I remember we played Arbroath in a pre-season friendly. I got a Bridie. I met Billy and his missus, Billy, who's been on the podcast before. Met him there, watched the game with him. And I'm trying to remember the trialist. People let me know the trialist who scored in the 90th minute for Hibs to make it 3-2 and 3-1 to Arbroath. We got beat. Scott Allen scored the other goal, but I can't remember the trialist who scored. I remember there was a trialist who scored. See if you can remember without googling it. See if you can remember the trialist who scored.
I think it was just a trialist that was under in the book, mate. Yeah.
But yeah,
him. He comes every year. Never sign him.
Score predictions for the game then.
So. Go on, Papa. You go first.
I'll go one each. I think we'll get a goal. It'll be a scrappy goal. It'll be windy, pissing with rain. One each. It'll go to penalties. And I don't. I've not got a coin.
Who knows? I was at flip a coin.
I've not got a coin. Don't know. I'll go to
I don't even know what you called it. There's no coin.
It'll go to penalties. I don't know. I've not got a coin. It'll go to penalties. And it'll be.
I'm going to say 2-0 to the High Bees. Mitchell in the first half, Jasper in the second. There you go.
Brilliant. I'll go 0-0.
It's clear I've not been in the pod in a while. I've clearly got far too much confidence and spirit still left in me. I've not been broken yet.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Dave Williamson's question earlier, and I meant to answer it myself. He said, do you see enough in recent performances to suggest Maloney's the right man for the job? No. I do believe he's the right man for the job, but I've not seen it in the performances. In terms of his question, I'm struggling to get confident for any game. Like the championship leaders that are probably going to be joining us in the Premier League next year. It's going to be a tough game. We can't take it lightly. It's going to be a tougher game than the Cove Rangers game, and we couldn't beat them. It's like a team that know how to keep clean sheets. 11 clean sheets from the 12 wins. We're in for a tough game, I think. And
he's going to be the
hopefully
manager
it clicks on Sunday.
Aye, well, he's going to be the manager of the year, Gav.
Yeah, he should be
definite.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job.
Definitely manager of the year. Yeah, that's it. Plenty of their potential, and it's on the telly. This is another thing. If it wasn't on the telly, we'd maybe just go through it and play, but now everybody's watching. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game, and I hope they prove us strong.
So other than the Hibs game, what's you guys got planned for the weekend? I know you both I already know this. I know you've both got weekends, but tell me what you're up to this weekend. Papa Sue, start with yourself.
Well, I'm what is it? It's this Friday. Tomorrow, Saturday, if anybody's interested, get along to the Dreadnought at Bathgate or listening to the Radio Grapevine app. There's 17 bands and it's only $5 to get in, but free on the app to listen in or www.radiograpevine.com. I'm doing the show from 2 till 4 and it goes right through till 10 o'clock. 17 bands, really good. It's all local bands. Really, honestly, it's a great day. This is the first time for 2 years since COVID that we've been able to do it.
Yeah, Dead Sea Souls are playing, aren't they?
Dead Sea Souls, yeah, they're on.
Wow.
They've got a lot of... Stuart, I'll tell you, listen in. Really good.
Yeah.
It's all live. Fantastic.
I'll tell you, for those who haven't listened in, Stu is a brilliant DJ. I will genuinely say that, mate. I've always enjoyed listening to your shows when I've tuned in.
Yes, aye. I've never been on the radio for over 2 years now because of COVID.
You might have lost your touch then.
I know. Just like the Hibs.
Yeah.
You're not that
bad. What about yourself, Stuart?
I know I was telling you off air, Gav, and I can't tell anyone what we're actually doing.
Oh, right, okay. Good thing
you never told me.
No, I'll tell you when we come off, Stu. But yeah, right. This is part of my other life in existence where we talk about fast cars and motorsport. We are doing a sponsored thing, which we'll be releasing kind of soon after. But yeah, really exciting. It's going to be a long day, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll fill you in due course.
I've heard the details, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the final product once it's edited down and stuff. So if you're not already, subscribe to Is It Fast on YouTube and all other platforms like the podcast version as well. But I think the video will be really good of this secret project, which we'll not talk about.
And Gav, what are you doing, mate? Because nobody asked you.
no, never asked me. Thank you for asking. I'm going to my mates tonight. I've not seen him in a while, so we could catch up with him. Just a very chilled out one. I'm going to have a lazy Saturday. I've been working a lot this week and kind of get my hours out of the way early so I can have a long weekend off for the Super Bowl on Sunday. Like I said, on Sunday, and then going in Edinburgh, the Pear Tree in Edinburgh to watch the Super Bowl. It's at 11:30 start. So But
Yeah, what
That's a
takes you
flashback.
to the pear tree?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where my mates picked
Right.
it. I maybe would have went for
It always
Lebowski's
had
or
big
something,
screens.
but
Yeah,
but,
I
but
remember that.
South
but
side,
they're-
that's where I come from.
aye. But yeah, so they're doing normal food up until 10, and then they're doing like nachos and hot dogs and all that sort of stuff for an American food.
A la carte.
Aye, from 10 o'clock through to half
And the
time.
pear
So, yeah.
tree. Nah.
So I'm looking forward to it. It should be great. Like I've said about it in the pod before, really got into American football this year, so I'm really looking forward to. Like I said, I've always watched the Super Bowl, but this is one where I've watched the whole season and now the Super Bowl, so now I'm really invested in it. So it should be good.
So
really
then,
looking forward to
who's your prediction? Who's going to win the Super Duper Bowl then?
the Bengals. I've been so impressed with the Bengals all year. I think the Bengals will win it. Like earlier, I've got some decent players. Beckham Jr. is a good player, good wide receiver, but yeah, I think Bengals will win it. Burrow's a really good player, so yeah.
Well, I'm going to
He's-
go to
he's
bar
the-
24
Ah,
to
quite
watch
right.
that. Make a noise.
The Bengals guy, he's the quarterback's the guy with the cigars, isn't it? He's just started this trait when he wins a big game. He has a victory cigar.
I need to double check with him. I'm not sure. I've missed
Yeah.
that. I'll tell. Let us know if that's
That's
right
all right.
or not. But yeah,
If we beat Arbroath, I'll be getting a big cigar myself. For a win.
times have changed that we're getting cigars out for beating our broth. Fucking hell. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on what the score is going to be, how the game's going, all that, and everything we've discussed today. Thanks again to the two Stuarts.
Cheers.
Thanks very much, Gav.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks again
Cheers.
for listening. Follow us at HFC Talk, and we'll be back after that Broth game. Looking ahead to the game after that, I think it's Ross County. But yeah, thanks again.